This is the newly redesigned 2014 Honda Valkyrie. At the time of this video, the 2015 model was not out yet, but there doesn't appear to be any major changes planned. And as you can see, the Valkyrie has been substantially redesigned and updated, all the while retaining its signature flat-six engine. The 1832cc six-cylinder engine is liquid-cooled, and when I rode it, man, it ran with minimal vibration. It's shaft-driven and has a 5-speed transmission. Personally, I would have liked a 6-gear, but that's just my own personal preference. It has a 6-gallon tank, and it's rated to get around 41 miles per gallon. The LED headlight, the LED tail light, the LED turn signals all bring the machine up to today's standards, and they look awesome on the bike, man. It's also got Honda's signature pillion grab rails for the ladies. And I had the opportunity to take the Honda Valkyrie out for a nice long ride. I've got to seriously give it up to Honda Power Sports Albuquerque for letting me take this bike out for a good, solid ride. Anyway, let me start out with some first impressions from the ride, and then I'll end it with my final thoughts. So I just got on the new Honda Valkyrie. This was redesigned for 2014. And this is the new Honda Valkyrie. And my initial impressions are, wow, the bike is awesome. Seriously, the bike feels great. Acceleration is smooth. It's a heavier bike. I think it's a heavier bike than my bike, but it feels lighter than my bike. Like, seriously, it feels very, very good between my legs, very good to kind of move side to side. So, I mean, it feels like a lighter bike than what it is. Seating position on this bike, man, is awesome. I mean, you're upright and your feet are a little more below you down here. They're not up front. I mean, the pegs aren't really they're not really too up front, and the seating position feels great. I mean, you're almost a little bit leaned forward, which I love, because when you lean forward, you kind of have you're kind of a little more alert in my eyes. I mean, sometimes when you're kind of just sitting back on a cruiser, it's easy to just get chill and just kind of sit back here like this. But when you're kind of hunched a little bit, just a smidge, then you are kind of forced to be a little more alert. So, I mean, man, from that standpoint, seating position, the bike is awesome. Like I said, smooth acceleration. It feels like it just wants to go. Like, I got a lot of power here. It feels like it just wants to take off, but it doesn't feel unwieldy though, you know. So feels really nice. Braking, you know, I've just stopped at a few stop signs, just a couple stop signs, so we'll see. But these are just first initial impressions. You know, I just got on the bike, so I mean, initial impressions are, you know, it feels great. You know what I like? I like that I can keep my knees like in a nice, good, gripped position on the tank. Like, I can really grip the tank well with my knees on this bike. So all of that just feels awesome. You know, this is just my own personal like, but I really like that the gauges are right here. You know, they're easy to see. They're up front. They are up high enough that you can just easily glance down and see what speed you're at. You can see the tachometer is here. You've got a clock here as well. Got my fuel gauge here as well. It looks like I'm close to empty, so hopefully I'll be okay. I'm sure I will be. But Instrument panel, the gauges here, I really like that. And for me personally, I mean, I don't do a whole lot of long distance fast riding where I need a windscreen, you know. And so, you know, I personally just kind of like the openness, kind of a little more of a naked look, I guess you could say. Look at that, smooth braking. I don't know if this bike has ABS or not. I don't know if it does. I don't think so. I think it's the other version that has ABS, the black version maybe. But yeah, this one definitely feels great, man. Wow. Woo, man, I want to open this thing up. There's just so much traffic. You know, I'm not able to really open this up. Now I'm going to try and get on the highway here. Maybe I can open it up a little bit. Ooh. Nice loud horn, that's for sure. Yeah, nice loud horn. Sounds great. Alright. Ooh, man. I actually even kind of like the sound of the engine. You know, it's not as loud. Is this? Okay, Paseo here. Oh, easy, G. Alright. Let's take this out on the highway a little bit. Alright. Woo! Damn. Keep hitting the horn. The horn and the turn signal are flipped compared to on my bike, so I keep hitting the horn. But wow, highway riding feels great. Nice and smooth. Feels like I got plenty of power if I need to overtake a vehicle. Yeah. Wow. I was gonna say, I think some of the loyalists, some of the old school Valkyrie loyalists are gonna balk at this bike, you know, because it's so different, dramatically different. Doesn't totally feel like a cruiser, you know. It doesn't. It's got a cruiser feel. It's got a cruiser look to it, but it's got a different kind of a feel to it, you know. Looks like a cruiser, but when you sit on it and actually ride this thing, it feels a little bit different. My final thoughts on the new Honda Valkyrie. Let's start off with the negatives. First of all, the area between the shift lever and the engine is maybe a little bit cramped. I mean, since I wear my CD Adventure Gore-Tex boots, which already are a little more of a rugged boot than your average motorcycle boot, I had a little bit of a challenge, particularly with the upshifting. If I were to get this bike, I might have to look at moving into a different boot. The stock exhaust, I mean, although it sounded great, it was maybe a little too quiet for me. But, I mean, that's not a big deal. I mean, most stock exhaust can be upgraded to suit your own personal preference anyway. In terms of the looks of the bike, there was maybe a little too much plastic on the bike for me. I think that it would have been nice to have some more like powder-coated metal versus all the plastic, or something that looked like powder coating. But who knows? I mean, maybe that was done to keep the weight from soaring even higher. I mean, the bike is already a little bit heavy. I mean, the bike is like 752 pounds wet. But for me, the number one biggest negative, the number one biggest downside to this bike is the price. I mean, good Lord, the bike costs like $17,999 for the standard model, $18,999 for the ABS model. I mean, seriously, $18,000 and $19,000? Oh my God, it's just way outside of my price range. Now, that doesn't go for everybody. I mean, so for some people, that's pocket change. But for me, man, that's just way too much to pay for a motorcycle. And don't get me wrong, the bike is absolutely amazing, and guess you do get what you pay for. I mean, the bike was smooth, and I'll get into the positives here in a minute, but there's a part of me that can't help but wonder how much the price is actually attached to the Valkyrie name, the Valkyrie heritage, the Valkyrie brand. Now, in terms of positives, wow, there were so many positives. I mean, if you can afford it, the Honda Valkyrie, the new Honda Valkyrie is smooth, solid. It's fun to ride. I mean, I absolutely loved riding the bike. I hated having to turn it in. I didn't want to turn it back in. There were just so many fun things, so many positives to the bike. It's comfortable. It's easy to handle. If you've got the right boot, it's easy to shift. It's easy to move through the turns. It's easy to hold up. I mean, it doesn't feel that heavy, even though it is kind of a heavier bike. And not even looking at the plastic aside, the design of the bike, I love the design of the bike. I mean, it is not an American Cruiser clone. Even though Honda is marketing this bike hard as the return of an American classic, for me, it doesn't have that classic American feel to it. And for me, I think that that's okay. I actually like that the design is original. And this bike is a true metric cruiser with its own character, its own flavor. And I get that Honda needs to sell these machines in the U.S. and that they need to market to the American people. But for me, I like that the bike is really a one-of-a-kind cruiser that stands alone in this crowded field. So right now, for SoopaBee, the new Honda Valkyrie is really my top choice bike. I loved the bike. Were it not for the price, I'd be looking for one today. Anyway, go check it out. The 2014, soon the new 2015 Honda Valkyrie. What am I doing wrong? Got it in neutral. Huh? Here we go.